We all like a drink, don't we? Or many of us. Is it so bad?
No, it's not bad in moderation, it's fine. And, there are some health benefits, but again, in moderation.
It's hard to believe that something that makes you feel so good can actually be a depressant. But I think it is, isn't it?
Well, it is, because what happens is as soon as you have alcohol, it actually starts shutting you down. And why you will feel more relaxed is because actually you're less inhibited.
What do you think that drinking in moderation is about?
Well, it is just that, isn't it? Moderation. So it's, perhaps a couple of units a day, with a couple of days a week where you have no alcohol at all. And it's being able to say no.
Now, we know that alcohol makes you feel good, or we think it makes you feel good, but what does it actually do?
Right. Well, yes, one or two drinks can make you feel good because you're less inhibited. So it's a bit like having more confidence. I mean, there are the expressions we use, like, having a drink to give you Dutch courage, to have this extra courage. And because you're less inhibited, you will do things or say things that you wouldn't do perhaps if you were sober, if you hadn't had any alcohol at all.
So that's the good news. What's the bad news?
It's good news as long as you stay in control. The difficulty is that the more alcohol that we consume, the less in control we are, which, you can see in any city or town centre in the country on a Friday and Saturday night, where people are behaving very badly because they've lost all inhibition. They've become much more primitive in their behaviour, so they're more likely to get into fights. They're more likely to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do.
So it's bringing out the worst in them.
Yeah, I mean, there can be problems in that people will have sex with somebody they wouldn't normally have had sex with, unprotected sex. All sorts of things can happen that are really not good, or get lifts from people they wouldn't have lifts from. People fall down, have accidents. You're much more vulnerable to harm when you've drunk too much.
This is very practical, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing about alcohol is the more we drink, the less in control we are. Now, when we go out socially, I think for most of us human beings, we want to make ourselves feel comfortable. And rather like some animals will turn circles to flatten the grass to get comfortable, we will drink whatever is in that glass in our hand. So that's why I suggest to people on going out socially, make sure the first drink you have is a long drink and one that is non-alcoholic. So like lemonade or anything that you like that has no alcohol in it, because you will drink whatever is in that glass. And by the time you've drunk that, you're probably going to feel fairly comfortable in your surroundings. And therefore you could then perhaps have some alcohol. But try and pace your drinking and intersperse it with non-alcoholic drinks.
You say that it can increase anxiety and panic.
Yes, alcohol is a depressant. So if you drink a lot, then you're more likely to get depressed. Also, feelings of anxiety, and particularly if people have gone out, say on a Friday or Saturday night, and consumed a lot of units, as that's sort of wearing off, they're effectively going through a detox, they can start to get panic attacks and increased feelings of anxiety.
So it's much the same as drug dependency of any other kind.
Well, yes, I think if alcohol was invented now, that, would it be legal? I'm not sure that it would be. And certainly, it is a drug. It's just that it's legal that we tend to think it's not a drug.
But moderation is the key word here, isn't it?
Of course. I mean, for most people are not going to be alcoholics. Most people can take control of their drinking, and in moderation, it's fine, absolutely fine, and something to enjoy.
One of the things you say is that alcohol dehydrates you, and I know that's true. What can you do about that?
Well, the thing is to drink lots of other fluids, non-alcoholic fluids, which is why my tip is, when you're starting the evening, have a really long drink that is not alcoholic. And then if you then move on to wine or whatever your choice of alcohol is, then have a glass of water or a soft drink in between, and try and drink plenty of fluids that are not containing alcohol, so that you keep your body hydrated. But the really important thing is to drink less alcohol. So I would say for a woman going out, ideally just a few glasses. And for a man, maybe the equivalent of a few pints. You'll feel really good at the end of the evening, I have to say.
What might be a good alternative to drinking?
Well, the thing is, there is no alternative to drinking because we need to drink fluids in order to stay alive. The thing is to reduce the alcohol. So it's drinking plenty of fluids that are good for us. Water, fruit juices, cordials, tea, coffee, they're all fine.
What does it do to the body or the body shape?
Oh, the body shape. Well, the waistline tends to increase through alcohol. Alcohol has a lot of calories, a lot of empty calories. So if you cut down, reduce your drinking or stop drinking alcohol, the first thing you probably notice is weight loss and a slimmer waist.
They're helping you to keep slim and healthy.
Well, it does. Also, your complexion improves, your concentration improves. You feel much fitter, much healthier in every way, I think, drinking less alcohol. But in our society now, people are consuming so much, it is alarming.
Well, the drinks industry, which is so huge, wants us to drink and wants us to drink more.
Yes.
How can we resist such pressure? It's not our fault, is it?
Oh, well, we do have a choice. The thing is about being in control, isn't it? And being able to say no. I do agree it's very difficult, and I do agree that we have this huge problem nowadays with alcohol. It is everywhere. It is so accessible. It's advertised everywhere. Every corner shop sells it, every supermarket, and people are drinking at an earlier age, which is a huge cause for concern. It's about saying no. I guess that's the only thing we can do.
How do I know if I'm drinking too much?
Well, if you don't remember what you've done the night before, or if you can't remember the conversation you had the night before, then there's probably a problem. Or if you just don't feel very well, then it's worth trying a few days with no alcohol. It depends how often you drink, whether, a lot of people binge now, which maybe they don't drink all week, but on a Friday and a Saturday they drink a lot. That is not going to be good for you. Work out the units. Most of the drinks that you buy will tell you how many units are in. And it's very easy to look on the internet to work out how many units you have in a week or in an evening. If you keep tot up what it is you're drinking, you can work out your units and you'll get a good idea if you're having too much. A very good way to find out the difference between drinking and not drinking is to perhaps go for a month without any alcohol. Maybe give the money you would have spent on drinks to a charity of your choice and just see how you feel. And that will give you a good idea as to whether you drink too much, you need to change your drinking habits.
But you should always keep a lookout for signs that you may be drinking too much because it's too easy.
Yes, I think it is all too easy because the way that the drinks industry works, bars and clubs and pubs often offer, special price deals where drinks are very cheap or free, and people don't realise how much they're knocking back. All of which has a huge impact on their health. And on a serious note, we're seeing younger and younger people with cirrhosis of the liver and other drink-related diseases.
It's very difficult to get your head around what a unit is, but people still need guidelines, don't they?
Well, they need guidelines, and I guess if you look on the internet, there are, I think DrinkWise do them, where you can work out what you've been drinking, how many units you would have consumed. But I agree that can be difficult. It's really each of us taking responsibility and being aware of how alcohol affects us. So I need to be aware of how alcohol affects me and to know when to stop. And to know not to drink too much because it damages my body and my mind. And it's ageing, so there's not a big advantage in drinking too much.
Could you tell me a little bit about your download?
Yeah, it's called Drink Less Alcohol. It's relaxing, it's lovely, and it really helps you to control your drinking. Lots of positive suggestions for being healthy, lots of positive suggestions for being in control of your life. So it's a very effective aid in reminding you of taking control of your life.